Well. Studying abroad in a new city always begins with moving to a new place. And moving to a new place always begins with buying a piece of new furniture. Well, this compressed sofa I bought was packed into a large box and shipped to me. It was incredibly heavy. The most interesting thing about this compressed sofa is, once you compact it, it doesn't immediately turn into a sofa. It first turns into a lump, a kind of shape, like something like technically exists, but you can't call it furniture yet. It's like a giant creature just waking from the hibernation. It needs time to remember who it is. It slowly expands, and also I need to slowly expand on my fold too. The first few months, I did something that seems a little bit silly, like dragging a suitcase to do grocery shopping. And I used to think my English was okay, but the washer really gives me a wrong for the life. The English on it seems way harder to understand the IELTS test. And also Fahrenheit made me give up trying to think altogether, converting back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Eventually, my understanding of temperature simpled down to a basic rule. Anyway, around 70 degrees seems to be a pretty comfortable temperature. It was so confusing to tell which direction the train is going. And also they're always late or even cancelled. As for the class, I can actually follow along most of the time, but the moment I lose focus, the English just slips out of my head like pee. I can't remember a thing. In the class, especially during discussions, I usually do not say much. It's not just because I'm kind of introverted. More often than that, it's just because I am trying to process what my classmates who speaks at breakneck speed are actually saying, and silently refuting the points I don't agree with. Maybe I will still keep a smile on my face sometimes, because at least that makes me look a little more like I fit in. Anyways, a forced smile is still a smile. But honestly, socializing sometimes makes me feel even more down. Especially the academic pressure in my first semester was so intense that I was losing my hair while rushing to meet deadlines. Being alone in this completely different country, homesickness hit me out of nowhere. Hey, do you ever feel this way too? When I first introduced myself, I used the name Helen. After all, my Chinese name is not easy for everyone to pronounce. My elementary school English teacher helped me choose the name Helen. For a Chinese kid, picking an English name was not something we gave much thought to. I was a bit tomboyish back then, and the name did not sound all that girly to me. Plus, I'd read about a Princess Helen in a book and thought it sounded pretty nice, so I just went with it without giving it much thought. Helen, it's simple, and it prevents an already slightly awkward first meeting from getting bogged down by the question, how do you pronounce your name? In a way, this was a life trick I picked up when I just got here. Later, I realized that this approach of presenting myself in a way that's easier for others to connect with was not something I did alone. This is actually a thing many international students and even many people who have just arrived in a new environment do. And because of this, I wanted to shift the focus away from me a little and see how this phenomenon plays out on a larger scale. So I reached out to Merlin. She's a student events coordinator at Temple and regularly interacts with a wide range of students, including many students like me, have just arrived and are still figuring out the ropes.
我的英文名字叫 Merlin， 我的中文名字是吴伟，然后我来自湖南长沙，来费城已经13年多，服务于北美的学生、华人学生学者，帮助他们适应美国的学习生活，给他们提供一个情感上也好，还是这种社群上的这种需要也好，我就专门做这方面的工作。
你觉得做 coordinator 这么久了，就很多新生刚来，你觉得他们会经常遇见的一些什么样的问题呢？
我觉得最首先遇到的问题就是怎么样安顿吧。比如说我们每年的暑假，一个对我来说，我做这个工作的话，最忙最累的是8月份，因为很多新生来了
啊，
对，就去接机啊，帮助他们就是买家具啊，带他们买菜啊，
买家具也去啊，
对，
哇，
对，就联络协调啊呀，你像去年暑假我们就接机接了 Temple 的新生，将近50个人吧，当然不是我一个人去接的，我去机场大概接了5个还是6个。那其他的40几个人怎么办？都是，我联络当地的这些华人的基督徒志愿者，他们去接，呀，但是我就在联络协调做这个事情，所以我们最大的需要可以说，首先好像是一些这种生活上的需要，其实我觉得更深层的需要。是他们这种情感上的归属啊，人生方向啊，他们的意义感，我觉得是他们最大的需要。
如果用3个形容词形容刚来费城或者刚来 Temple 的学生，你会选择哪3个？
很有活力的，这是第一个形容词。蛮上进的，这是第2个形容词。第3个是有些迷茫的。我接触的是有一些迷茫的，但这个迷茫的也会带出另外一些问题，有些焦虑的，对，这迷茫会带出焦虑。
是我觉得我刚来的时候确实是有这种感觉的。
是的。
你知道我们中国学生来这儿嘛，一般会给自己取一个英文名字。就是你对这份取名字就怎么介绍自己，这个事情有什么样的想法看法，就聊一聊这个话题。
很多时候我们跟美国人打交道嘛，美国人都喜欢叫英文名嘛，呀，所以大部分中国学生，就我所知，大部分中国学生都是有英文名的，呀，对，我是觉得确实应该是，可能觉得能够更容易融入美国文化吧，呀，这样才让那个有生命力的部分长得更好。
啊，是这样的。
对。
My English improved a lot during these 2 years in Philadelphia, and I gradually get used to the life here. I even started running into familiar staff on the trains to the suburbs. I especially love being packed like sardines on the SEPTA trains, jostling back and forth. Plus, I've got my chinchilla babies, Zuzu, Zumi, Zucchini, Zucamo, and Pau. Also, even one of my friends said I've become so American lately, I've started riding a scooter. Well, I'm not quite sure what my friends mean by that. But on the contrary, I am becoming more and more certain of one thing, which is I may never fully fit in here. A transparent wall called culture will never disappear. I've gone back to using my own name, Ziran. I'm such a fool. My name is so beautiful. Ziran. Ran means the sun slowly rising. People always talk about second language and third language. It sounds impressive. I guess I would say I'm a 1.5 language speaker, but I often feel that language is actually a very lonely thing. You can use English to order food, attend classes, and reading papers. But it's hard to bring that you from your native language over exactly as it is. Especially humor. Many jokes require cultural context to land. You can translate them, of course, but once you have to explain the punchline, it's already not that funny anymore. What's even harder is that you will find the persona that you can express in English comes across as rather childish. Sometimes it's a bit less sharp, a bit less agile, a bit less spontaneous than in Chinese. It's not that you've become boring, it's just that you are running on a different system and some features just cannot be loaded right now. So, if that's the case, why have I been using a name that's easier to pronounce, introducing myself as a version that's more convenient for others to use? One day, while I was working at Altec, I told my manager, I don't really like the name Helen, but it's easy for everyone to say. After he finished checking out a customer, he called me over and said, well, don't change your name just because others have trouble pronouncing it. At the time, I thought that was a simple yet profound statement because it put the responsibility where it belongs. It's not on me to become easier to pronounce, but rather it's up to others to take 5 extra seconds to learn how to say my name. So that day, my name tag changed from Helen to Ziran. I reintroduced myself to everyone who knew me. It was a very small thing, but it made me feel more like myself. At least in that moment when my name was called.